Welcome, everyone, to Meditations for Humanity for the Institute for Global Transformation. I am Lirita, and today is August 20th, Sunday, August 20th, 2023. We will be speaking today about the integration of the persona, the need for the integration of the persona, establishing right relationship with our body, our emotions, and our mind, the interrelationship of humanity, the concept of peace on earth and goodwill, re-education in the concepts of truth, and the integrating of humanity's forces, and the approach to the soul, improving abstract truth through practical application. As if you've listened to previous sessions in this particular venue, you will know that humanity is undergoing a huge change. That change has to do with the downloading of the spiritual soul of humanity being impressed within the collective mind of humanity. And why is that happening? I've explained this in the past, but I'll do it again, because it's something that we need to hear over and over and over again in order to really understand it and allow it to begin to integrate into our being. And that is that humanity in and of itself is totally focused, and it doesn't know it yet. That's the interesting part. Humanity's evolutionary trajectory is about spiritual evolution. All of humanity, whether it is known or unknown, is moving on the path of initiation. And if I said this to a group of 25 to 50 people, most everyone would be shocked. But it is the nature of humanity to evolve spiritually. That's what we're here for. And in this particular solar incarnation, it is the soul of humanity that's being developed. Consciousness is being developed. In the previous solar incarnation, it was about physical development. But in this particular incarnation, this is the second, it is the soul of humanity that's being developed, or consciousness. The two are equivalent. So, yes, as a result of that, it becomes important for us to learn to integrate our persona. Okay? Our persona, or what we also call the substantial forces are the mind, the astral emotional body, and the physical body. These are the three aspects of our being that we use in this terrain in which we live, move, and have our being. So it is important then for the persona to become aligned, meaning that the physical body, the astral emotional body, the mental body, all through our effort, our discipline, our control, and our training, inner training daily, we begin to align each aspect of those bodies to be the tool or the instrument of the soul itself. Right. Okay. As I've said before in past sessions, the soul, our soul, that comes into every incarnation that we have, in every lifetime, our same soul is with us. And it will hover or simply observe its instrument from incarnation to incarnation into incarnation, waiting for us to wake up, waiting for us to become aware of our true purpose, waiting for us to then begin to become assertive and direct in how we work in our world, and also seeking to connect more with our soul, striving to connect more with our soul, which is done through many ways, but the primary way being meditation. So, living cleanly, shadow work, being attentive to our thoughts, what it is we say, what we allow to come through our mouth, how we view and work with others. Realizing that there's more to life than ourselves, and seeking to be in service to the greater humanity. Concepts that we would work with in terms of goodwill. And what does that actually mean? And how do we put it forward? These are all the ways that we begin to integrate that persona. Otherwise, what happens? Our persona then can be, our physical body can be over here, our astral body can be over here, thinking these thoughts and feeling these things, and our mental body can be in a completely different place. No organization, no integration whatsoever, dispersing of energy, okay? Lack of coordination in the instrument, the body, the personality, okay? It is our job as aspirants and probationers, disciples and initiates to, and by the time you get to that level of discipleship and initiate, you've already done the work. But aspirants and probationers to integrate that persona so that it becomes the tool, the vehicle of the soul. Then the soul begins to recognize pulses of energy. It recognizes the fact that there's a striving to connect. And as a result, it begins to pay greater attention to its vehicle. And through that attention and through our direct work, our alignment is what it's called, and how we begin to work and carry ourselves in the world and radiate increasingly that soul energy. Because, as I've said before, the meditative act, the act of meditation itself, is a drip by drip distilling, so to speak, of the energies of the soul, so that we begin to carry more of the soul note in our being. We might think that we might not be aware of how much, let's put it that way, is going on when we meditate. And I would suggest very strongly that one meditates simply out of the love of doing it, without looking for what it may be doing for you. And simply carry the energies that one is able to connect with, and the inner transformations that go on unbeknownst to you, which is the way it should be. It's always, the word is dispassion. We are to hold an energy of dispassion in our meditations. You might experience things, you might feel things, you might sense things, but remain detached and simply do meditation for its own sake, without attachment to, how do you say it? Without lusting, that's the word, without lusting for something to happen, or trying to repeat something that may have happened. My brother got stuck in something like that once. I remember he told me that. He said he had a very unusual experience in his meditation. And he spent probably, months after that, chasing that same experience over and over and over again. And when I heard that, at the time, I was still learning, and as I am right now, still learning, be the eternal student in spirituality for lifetimes. But I knew that something was slightly amiss when I heard that, because then you're just you're spinning a wheel. You're just chasing the tail, so to speak, in a wheel, and it's unproductive. So, creating that unification of our substantial forces, which is what we call the three aspects of our persona, is that which we seek to do. It is the preliminary work of an aspirant. It's the fundamental work of an aspirant or probationer, okay? So that is the job, not only of aspirants and probationers, yes, those of us who have a sense of something in terms of a spiritual quest and spiritual path, we go forth with that energy. And then we begin to radiate the light of the soul as it takes up greater space in our being through progressive meditations, we begin to radiate, because that's the nature of the soul. It radiates energy. It radiates and it magnetizes. That's the energy of the soul. It magnetically draws energy to it, and it also radiates. So we begin to walk in the world and stand in the world in a different way. It changes us from the inside out. And whether we know it or not, as it begins, the soul begins to incrementally um, grow or connect with us. We become beings of light, which is what we are anyway. And we radiate that energy outward. And that radiating energy begins to, whether we know it or not, it touches people. They don't know what they're reacting to. They don't know what they're connecting with. They don't even know what they're feeling. It touches people and it changes them, okay? It is like a dose of love, really. That is sent out. And that is the work. That's our work, whether we know it or not. To stand in the world knowing what it is we're connected to, holding that note and that frequency, and sending it out with love, just allowing it to be, sending it out with love to all those that we pass, speak to, sit beside, maybe even have a tete-a-tete with, arguments with, you know. And I don't mean that we would knowingly argue with somebody, but there are times when things are going to happen, especially in this life that we're living right now, in this time that we're living, where there's so much polarization and so much emotional upset, often for unknown reasons, simply because we live in certain silos of information. So when we come up against a force like that, that's when we have to know how to do our job, okay? I'm not going to say that it's going to always be easy, but if we remember, this is the key, and it's like a light switch. And if we're doing the inner work, that light switch automatically goes off. If we're meditating on a daily basis, that light switch will go off. You know, sometimes this happens, and we have to make sure that we move away from the emotional level, if at all possible, or connect with the highest levels of energy that we can possibly connect with, rather than become strictly emotional. And I'm going to tell you guys, it's a balancing act, okay? It is truly a balancing act. Why am I not seeing what I should be seeing here? Okay. Okay. It's a balancing act. There will be snafus, as we know, in life. The gift is to remember who we are, what it is we hold, what it is we're seeking to hold, and that life is going to bring us tests to see how we're going to react to it, if we're going to react to it, and to what levels we're able to reach or stoop, depending on where we are, okay? Um, that becomes extremely important, especially it's important every time, all the time. But now that we're in such an emotional soup, or I'd rather call it goop, that we're in right now that we're in such an emotional goop within our world, we have to be on guard. We have to be aware. We have to know tests will come. And the goal is to be able to say, okay, this challenge is a test for me to determine how I'm going to work with it. So now, what do I do? Remember, I am the soul. I seek the highest good for all. The person that I'm dealing with is also a soul. Let me see what's really going on here. And sometimes you can look at a person and you can see what's really going on. You can see that maybe something happened earlier in their day. You can see that it's not really about you at all. It's about something else. You can see that every situation will be different. You can see sometimes that it's just someone who just doesn't know any better. And then you have to hold space for them. Take a deep breath, hold space for them, and see what the best way of handling that particular situation is. So humanity is going through radical changes. These are the changes that are occurring. The soul of humanity is seeking to impress itself within the collective. And as a result of that, major shifting is going on. I've talked about this, and I cannot stop talking about it for some reason. It's important. It's just so vitally important for us to realize. There are many goals, but one of the goals is the aspect of goodwill within humanity in and of itself. So how do we, and that includes a sense of peace, a sense of appreciation and respect for each other, understanding. And that's a frequency, again, that will grow within you through steadfast meditation, reading, inner work. If you're a solitaire, that means a person who is working by themselves spiritually in the world rather than working with a group, you may want to find a group that you can work with, like through the Zoom venue. There are many teachers, good teachers, who are doing a lot of good work on Zoom. And people come together for lessons. Some pay, some not paying, some are absolutely free. There are many different ways, and I mean, if you are interested in furthering that investigation, I first and foremost, the first thing to do is to send it out through your meditations. Send out that request through your meditation, because, as I told you, the soul radiates and magnetizes. So that means automatically that you will attract to you, and in the proper time, that which you need to further your growth. It's just a given. Okay, and you probably have experienced it already. And then you can talk. I mean, the Institute for Global Transformation is a wonderful venue, and will connect you with other venues as well. If you want, you can also email me, and I can direct you in or give you that which I know. So humanity, as we are working through our spiritual trajectory, whether we know it or not, we are finding there's a great need for re-education within humanity. You know, there's so much that's not known. Humanity in and of itself is very young emotionally, a very young period, which is why we're so emotional. Okay, we're young. If in fact the soul is seeking to impress itself, we've done a lot of work. Obviously, if the soul is seeking to impress itself, okay, as a collective, we have done a lot of work. We've grown, we've advanced. And I think many of the texts say that we have advanced even faster than the guardians of the planet thought we would advance. So we are now ready for the next phase, okay? And as with anything that's new, it's going to take adjusting. It's going to take understanding. It's going to take education. And that's the throes of what it is we're in right now, okay? We are being hit with so much, and the way it's stacked, the depth and the width of it all, at this point in time, it just seems like it is such at a pace that how much more can we take? But that is the aspect of the demolition, right? It's the aspect of the breaking down of everything that has been known. So that we stand fresh and ready. The emerging multipolar world. I think it's going to be multipolar. Yes, it's multipolar now. My sense is that we're moving slowly but surely to a point of union that will take some time for us to reach, as the new blueprints for the next civilization begin to take shape. But I sense that there will be greater unity, greater cooperation, and greater integration. But we have to allow for the sloughing so that we can build something new and whole and beneficial for all, rather than this that we've been living, which has been about separation and greed. So it's our job, and it's humanity's job, and we can assist bit by bit. As we grow, then we begin to have greater how do I say that? We have our magnetism increases, our ability to radiate increases, our desire to serve others also increases, and our ability to work with the group mind, the collective mind, through our meditations, which is what we call subjectively, also increases. And then we begin to have a greater ability to assist in helping humanity. We help from our vantage point, while the guardians of the planet are assisting from their vantage point. And that is the way humanity will become more one-pointed, more directed, more integrated, okay? Bit by bit. And I must tell you, there are a lot of groups right now, spiritual groups, who are working in this way subjectively. They meet on a weekly basis. They meditate. They do group meditations through Zoom. You don't have, I'm sorry, I missed that one. Please say that one again. Send that one again, Dina. I'll, first of all, if anyone, I don't have, you don't have to address this. Hold on. No, I don't want to interrupt your flow. Just wondering, will you be teaching the economy and the disciple? Aha. Okay. Interesting. It's not one that is on my list yet, but it is in the body of, I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. What we have talked about is corrective thinking, nature of the soul, and the soul and its instrument. That's what we've talked about. There is a there's a movement, Tina. I'm going to answer you directly, and please, everybody, just hold tight because this is important. And there's a movement to work with all of the teachings of Lucille Cederkranz from beginning all the way to the end, to progress through all of the books and the lessons in that way, so that it is a progressive movement rather than picking and choosing as it has been. There's a new thought form, let's put it that way, out that is saying, let's start from the beginning and go all the way to the end. So I know Henry probably he has taught Economy and the Disciple. Is that the name of the book? Economy and the Disciple. And he might very well be teaching it. There'll be others that are teaching it, but I don't think it'll probably be on my list for 2024 rather than this year, okay? To answer you. Hold on a second. Where was I? Yes, so our personality integration, which is what we've been talking about this whole time, is the necessity as individuals respond to the impact of the world need. Yes, and I was talking about the groups that are working subjectively right now. There are groups that are working subjectively, and those groups are doing fantastic work. I'm involved in several of them, and I can speak from experience that when you have a group of people who come together and focus subjectively on a particular issue or problem or goal for humanity, The changes are happening very, very fast right now. Very fast. We think it's not going to be a long slog, people. It's not going to be a long, hard walking through molasses. It feels like it might be like that right now, but the energies of a group of people who know how to meditate, what they're doing, and can pinpoint the energies to a particular frequency for a particular purpose, it's like all of a sudden you look and right before your eyes, things are changing with ease. That's how the energies are working out. So don't never fear in terms of how is everything going to change. It's happening as we speak right now. We're in a new world. We are in a new paradigm right now as we speak. It's already, we've taken the steps already. Months ago, if you had talked, I mean, where are we now? We're almost in September. You know, January, February of 2023, we were in a totally different place than we are now. And if you listen to Pam Gregory, the astrologer, who I highly recommend, if you have not taken time to find her on YouTube, please find her and listen to what she is saying, where we will be within the next 6 months to a year to 2 years is going to be a vastly different place than we are right now. Okay? We are a part of the change. Okay? If you're here with me now and you're listening to this, know that you are an agent of change for humanity. Take that responsibility. Wear it, know it, integrate it into your being, and begin to vibrate from that frequency. We have a responsibility and a duty here. We all signed up for this before we entered this incarnation. We signed up for this. Okay. So this is our job. It's a mission. Okay. Okay. So we must first understand, and we've been born into this for all of our lives, we must first understand the form nature, generally and specifically. Then we must understand our relationship as a consciousness to the form that we inhabit. Okay. And that being the three substantial forces, our three substantial forces, the mental, the astral, emotional, and the physical. And then we must understand our relationship as a consciousness to everything else that's around us. Okay. So how do we do that? I've given you major steps. We've taken major steps to move from to kind of begin to shift from the astral into the mental levels already. We are now, ideally, in your meditations, hopefully, you are able to move from the physical, the astral, the mental into the ajna center. That switchboard for all of the centers, chakra centers below. Okay, that center, the seat of the observer, so to speak. And I would highly recommend, in that example I was giving you of challenges that come to you that can come to you out of the blue. All of a sudden you're faced with this thing staring you in the face that you have to deal with, and you have to make sure, you have to adjust your energy to make sure that you're bringing through the light that you want, the frequency that you want, that is representative of the soul, not the emotional body. You never want to be reactive. Okay? That's a major, major key. You're out driving, someone lurches in front of you, or something crazy happens. As long as you are safe, as long as it did not cause you an accident, as long as you had time to react in a way that keeps you safe, then you just understand that around us are many different types of beings. Send energy to them. Yes, we might get angry and ticked off for a moment, but remember, if we react on the same frequency as they are, and quite often they might not even know. They might be in drug heaven, They might have maybe their significant other is they just found out is in the hospital having a baby. We have no idea what other people are going through. And that's the space we have to remember. We have to be in, to always remember there's so many different things going on that we cannot be the judge of what has happened. We never know what's going on in someone else's shoes. So you take a deep breath. You never want to react at the same frequency as someone else, because that takes you from your high place. Okay? The goal is to be able to realize that life is full of these scenarios that will constantly test us, and we stay in that high place as much as we possibly can. If we slip, acknowledge it, even maybe apologize. Okay? Sometimes we have to eat crow. I was taught that a long time ago. Sometimes it's important to be able to eat crow. It teaches us something. It teaches us humility. It teaches us that we don't always have to be right. It gives space to other people, that it's not about always ourselves. There's a lot of different lessons in being able to step away and allow. Okay? Not doormats. Not saying being a doormat. Okay? Sometimes we have to stand strong. And when we stand, when that's necessary, we have to do it. Because then that might be the one lesson that particular person needed to hear. But how we do it is the key. Okay? We remember that the person that we're speaking to is a soul, not the personality, but the soul. Then we begin to speak from a different place, soul to soul, totally different frequency. So through meditation, we align our consciousness with that of the overshadowing spiritual soul and discover their true identity. Okay? Through meditation, I'll say that again. The individual in the brain aligns their consciousness with that of the overshadowing spiritual soul and discovers their true identity. So I would like us to do that in meditation in this particular session. Okay. I'd like to lay down the tracks, the pathway for that level of connection, especially for those who have not ever done that level of meditation before. It'll just be the beginnings of that. We've been touching on it through our meditations in the past, but this time we're going to go in a slightly different direction, okay? So, give me a couple more minutes here. This technique must be used frequently over a long period of time in order for it to be effective. Why? Because as I said to you before, working with the soul is not a once and done scenario, okay? It's an incremental. The soul distills its essence into our being, depending on the soul age of the persona, of the person. There are awakenings, as we know, that happen, that are very huge download, bang, it happens. Huge infusion happens, does happen to people. But for most of us, it comes through ongoing work, okay? You might feel as though, as I said before, nothing's happening. But then, if you're steadfast about it, all of a sudden you realize you're in a different place. Something has happened. And the rudimentary, fundamental steps that you've taken initially, now may not be as necessary. Sometimes you might find that suddenly you need that soul connection immediately. It's an emergency situation. And you need, boom, direct connect. And if you've been doing the work over a long period of time, that can happen. That will happen. Okay. Yeah. So through meditation, we are connecting not only with the soul, but we are also connecting with divine will, and the divine plan, not only for ourselves, but for humanity at large. Okay? The divine plan for humanity, and I've mentioned this, I think, in past scenarios, past sessions, the divine plan for humanity is easily said to be every man a Christ. That's the divine plan for humanity. And that is the shortcut way of saying that we are all on a spiritual path. We are learning. We're all on the path of initiation, whether we know it or not. Okay? And it will lead us to every man at some point in time holding that Christedness within themselves. Okay? Holding that frequency within themselves. That's the goal of humanity. Your success, our success, one's success in being able to connect with that soul frequency and the energies of divine will, divine purpose, and divine plan depends on the work that we've done with our persona. Christ is an extension of that same frequency. Okay? Christ, Yeshua, he that walked in human form on this planet, came to show humanity the blueprint of the path of initiation. Okay? That was his purpose. There have been many who have held Christedness in their being. The Buddha, Muhammad, Zoroaster, all of the savior beings who have walked this planet, all held that frequency of Christedness. It's a level of initiation. That's what it is. Okay. And as we work within ourselves to discipline our substantial forces in order to organize them so that the soul can begin to use its instrument completely in whatever lifetime that whatever incarnation that may be, we are approaching gradually that level of Christedness. Okay? And there are degrees of that wisdom, there are degrees of that power, there are degrees of that wisdom. Okay? And that working out of energy for and with humanity. So, no, we're not talking about religion here. Don't get it confused. No, we're talking about spirituality and Christ. Christedness is an aspect of us being the highest aspect of ourselves. That's what it is. Okay. So let's take this time to meditate. So let's take a moment and come together as a group. And take a deep breath. And as we release it, relax the physical body. Knowing that you are not your physical body. Take another deep breath. Becoming aware of our emotional body. And as you release that breath, allow that emotional body to become calm, serene. See your emotional body as a pool of water. Take a look at the surface of that water and calm the surface of that water so that it becomes still, glassy, like a mirror, reflective of the sun's light. And know that you are not your emotions. And take a third deep breath. Making sure that you are awake, aware, alert, here in this place of the mental body. And know that you are not your thoughts. And holding the awareness of us as a group, not simply as individuals, but as a group mind, a group awareness. Move your awareness to 3 inches beyond the forehead, outside of the forehead, to the ajna center. Here you are in control of all the chakras below this center. You are the master of your house. Here, you are able to connect to the etheric body of humanity at large. But for now, what we will do as a group is aspire to the soul, that aspect of ourselves that is above and free of the form, in no particular direction or place, but simply through the direction of your thought, connection is made. Sound a silent Om in response to that connection. And still within the Yajna center, yet connected to soul, always important first and foremost to bring forward or upward from your being as you stay within the Ajna center. Bring any residual aspects of your physical body up into the Ajna center. And then, still within the Ajna center, bring the any emotional aspects of yourself, your being, up into the Ajna center. And as well, any residual aspects of the mental body up into the Ajna center. And by so doing, know that you have integrated the persona into the Ajna center in order to be impressed and open to the energies of the soul. Then you aspire to soul. And sound a silent Om. That is how you know you have integrated your three lower bodies into the Ajna center. And by repetition of this in your meditations, you are doing that inner work necessary to align the three lower bodies or your substantial forces with the soul. This is the preliminary steps. And if you begin to do this in your meditations, from this point on, you will be raising and lifting your substantial forces to be impressed by the energies of the soul. And as we stand now connected with the soul, we identify as a group as the incarnate soul within our being. And in this place, we seek divine wisdom and an understanding of that aspect of the divine plan that is part of our life in this incarnation. We know from this place that we are connected with all world servers within humanity. And we seek to add our service and become a part of that group. From here, as a part of the wider group, we are able to assist through meditation subjectively. We can see from a slightly different vantage point problem areas in our world, in our environment, and even in our lives, and address them from a different place, other than the emotional. Reach in as high as we can go, connecting with our soul, through the energy of our hearts. Divine love, wisdom, holding that love for all of humanity. And holding gratitude for all those who are here to aid humanity. The spiritual hierarchy, the guardians of the planet, the protectors, and we are able to call upon the love of the divine, known as the planetary logos. For guidance and direction. strength, and resilience, focus, and determination, perseverance, and the ultimate courage. As we are witnesses to a new world being built from the ashes of the old. And together we sound the Om, an audible Om, still holding the energy and frequency in the Ajna center connected to soul and the group and the wider group and divinity. And we send the energy of that Om out through that Ajna center, through our environment, out to humanity, radiating it as light, love, and power. And we take a deep breath. And we return our awareness to normal focus. I thank everyone. I apologize for running a little long. I don't even have a clock in front of me. I have no idea of time. So I was a little bit derelict in my duties. Apologize for that. But it's been a wonderful session having you all with me, having us all together. And I look forward to us being together again next time. I'd like to say I give thanks to the Institute for Global Transformation for the ability to present here. And I hope, again, this has served you. If it has, drop me a note, let me know. Blessings to all of you, wherever you are. And until the next time, bye-bye.